Just stop moving.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Hello, my name is Mary Joice Mission, and I'm here to talk about how to recognize the possible signs of child abuse. Do you know that 5 children die every day because of child abuse? And 90% of child sexual abuse victims know that they're perpetrator in some way, and 68% of them are abused by a family member. You might be thinking, how is this possible? How can we dismiss and not recognize this sign of wickedness inside our home, or even the kids that we meet outside our home? But first of all, we need to know what is child abuse. Well, child abuse is basically any series of action that results into a potential harm of any child. So first, we need to know the different types of child abuse and what are the signs of child abuse. Is this just because maybe it's just a clumsiness of a kid? Maybe you saw a bruise or a mark and then you're like, oh my God, maybe that kid is just clumsy? Or maybe they're playing in the playground, you know, just being a kid? Or what are these signs and symptoms that we have to know? Well, the types of child abuse are physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and neglect. The very first one is the physical abuse. Physical abuse is any harm or injury that is potential to a child. The signs and symptoms, it could be any bites, you know, burns, black eyes, something like that. And the kids with physical abuse, sometimes they show some kind of regression or maybe fear with people. The next one is sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is not just physical touching or intercourse. It can be maybe sexual exploitation, like child pornography or maybe prostitution. And the signs and symptoms, like maybe you can see a kid like having trouble walking or sitting, or sometimes they refuse to participate in any activities in school. The very last one is neglect or emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is, this can result into any psychological trauma in the future. And basically neglect is whenever a child is not getting that needs or rights as a kid. And some of the signs and symptoms, they don't have any medical or dental care. They're also sometimes absent from school, or then maybe they're just, you know, just physically dirty. They have torn clothes, or sometimes they do have body odors, right? Some of them can just do some extreme behaviors, or maybe they're, you know, very aggressive when they talk to other kids, or like when they play with other kids. Sometimes they can show that kind of aggression. And some of them can also have delayed physical or emotional development. So most of them wouldn't excel in school, so then they would have a hard time to understand concepts when they start going to school. So after knowing all this, what do you do now? Like, okay, you realize, oh my God, this kid is, you know, probably abused at home, or like somebody's abusing this kid. Well, first, we know that early recognition is key, because once we know the symptoms and signs, then we can connect all these clues, so we can conclude that, hey, this child is abused. We have to be aware of this signs and symptoms, of course, and of course we have to call the authorities once we know that, once we're definite that this kid is being abused at home or anywhere. And this is just a phone number that you can use, this phone number here in Houston, where you can report any kind of child abuse. So child abuse is everybody's business. If you just dismiss this kind of symptoms or anything that you see outside of your house, or maybe you saw somebody that's, you know, hitting their kid in Walmart or something like that, don't dismiss it, because you might think, oh well, it's not my kid, it's not my business, not my problem, you know. But maybe, just maybe, you could be that child's only hope. You could be a chance for that kid to restore his or her faith in humanity, you know, be that person and be aware of these symptoms. And maybe you could think maybe that kid could be your kid in the future, or maybe that kid might be you in the past.
Oh my God.